Right, just going to be in a little bit of a dark spot for 1 or 2 seconds, well, 1 minute, until I can get somewhere where there's some light. Good. That didn't count today. I failed. I said hello, and before I could really begin speaking, I said so that's how I am. I always try and doubt myself most of the time, I guess. It's like an element of truth, and there's no loss really. And challenge yourself more for next time. But obviously, I do lie to myself. If it's like 5 times on the trot, I might be a bit compassionate to myself on the 6th time, and say, oh, okay, that counts. Trying to essentially train my life. Just I really didn't want to pick up the video at all. My life. Sorry, I'll sit down in a minute for you, and you won't have to look at me like this, side on or not properly focusing. But yeah, essentially, I didn't want to pick up the video. In a lot of ways, I feel quite sick with life at the minute. It'll have to be like that. I feel sick with life at the minute, and it's not a place I really feel to share anything, but I'm still alive and I still have to live, and I still have to manage my mental health, and I could see my mental health beginning to get a bit too pushy, and I guess this would be the optimum time. If there was ever an optimum time to make a video due to it helping my mental health, it would be at those times. That way I could pick up the iPad or whatever, and I could go straight into a video, and the complaints would always be less, and because of the timing, I guess it would always be who knows, man. It's like I'm trying to put a positive spin on timing, but with my mental health, it's totally ridiculous. My mental health, in my mindset, what I've had to accept, what my mental health has, I don't know if it's led me to believe that, but that's me living with it has ultimately led to me. I'm really sorry my face isn't full in frame. There we go. My mental health has ultimately been my mental health, and the way I've gone about dealing with that is accepting my limitations to it, and constantly along the way. And this is actually helpful. I'm realising that I've just realised that, it's been a gradual process of slowly humbling myself to reality from whatever delusion I had as a child. still in that process of it for a 35-year-old. It's like, first of all, I've got to admit I'm not going to be able to do this in the world, and then I've got to admit I'm not going to be able to achieve that with my body. I'm not going to be able to achieve different goals and mindsets and aspirations and visions of the world I had as a airy Libran up in the sky, you know. Always struggled to connect with people to find grounding on that level. So I was well up there, and my mental health has been a reference to a new reality I've had to accept. I've had it for 10 years now. I'm not running from it. It is my life. But I guess it's admitting my own limitations. That's what I'm trying to say. I've been admitting my own limitations along the way, and as I said in one of the previous videos, I was an egoic Cypriot kid as a child. Well, when I was younger, and that doesn't help with the airy Libra-ness. So I guess I believed I could do anything. I guess I believed I was Superman as a child. And my mental health is slowly telling me, look, Andreas, you can't fly. Andreas, you can't get shot by bullets. Andreas, you can't, you know, admit where you're weak. And due to my ego, that's so hard for me. That's really hard to admit all my weaknesses. One, to myself, and two, to others. Not this statement, that's a general statement, but in the moment, like, I could never talk to women appropriately. I was always afraid. It took me years and years, and then what I'm trying to say is that my expectations of myself were up here, and I was here. So every time I would try and speak to a woman, this is the most obvious thing because it was the most prominent thing growing up, I'd always stumble because this is what I tried to be, and this is who I was. Because there was that big gap in the middle, and because I'm autistic, self-diagnosed, and I don't lie, trying to communicate this through this, it was just like, boom, I just fall over. It was impossible. So only last year did I really find out I could talk to women again. I don't know for whatever reason, but wow, it's a realisation again. It could have been my mental health. 9 years of beating and realisations for my mental health. Who knows what point along the way, what was the final trigger point to put me in that position. But yeah, it was like that happened, and that was a realisation last year. But it's many things like that. Admitting my weakness was probably the hardest. It came after the most challenging incident, and when I'd been through that, it was like, right, that's it. I'm never going to be as strong again. You know, in my mind, I could have achieved anything, and to a certain extent, but it was really knowing let me rewind. I was trying to say my strength, and that is to spirituality, because I view my mental health as spirituality, half the input, half the voices, half the energy, or some of it at least, I connect to consciousness. So what I'm trying to say is I believe it's a conscious effort by another consciousness external to myself that is ultimately controlling everything. Oops, that's the tabletop suntan machine, solar machine, I don't know what to call it. That's just gone out, so back on, hence my squinting. I think on two levels that really must have hit me, because on one level it's like I appreciate the way spirituality works. It's not always good, and it does come at you with challenges, and you have to take them both and rise to both of them. And that's the way I remember. That's the way. I don't know. I remember myself. I'm not clear enough to really tune in, but I believe that's the way I used to take on everything, or most things. And then after that incident, it was like, right, well, I've just lost the spirituality. What's happened? This is new. And it was really admitting that my insignificance to reality, that I used to think I was going to change the world. As I said, I thought I was going to be Superman, and I lost, and it must have really affected me on that level. Plus, it was such an ordeal. It made me question spirituality. I just want to reiterate why I'm talking about all of this, so I don't get too sidetracked, and that was to what I'm trying to show you is it's almost like admitting that I'm a slave, and on what level I'm a slave, and how my ego before, my mind before, prevented me seeing that and being honest with that. And along the way, that's what my mental health has really, I believe, allowed to happen. And to a certain extent, the more time has gone on, the easier it's become, because I try to learn the lessons. So I apply what I've learned before to whatever my mental health is challenging me with at present. And as I said, only in this speaking to you now has it clicked that I think it's on two levels now. I'm really being challenged to admit my I don't want to call it slavery, because it's not. I mean, essentially, if you look at it, you can call it a slavery, but in truth, that's all it is. It's just looking at my life in truth. And because I was up here thinking I was Superman, when I come down here, it looks a hell of a lot more like slavery than it ever would have. And it's harder to see any other elements, any other positives that, in truth, on the level you would see. So coming down, I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be a slave. And that's happening on two, three levels in my life. And I think it's coming in a way that it came that first challenging time. And I don't know how much more I can do, because that is who I am. You know, whatever happens, the ego is who I am on a daily basis. Ultimately, if life humbles me, it could knock me down right here. But it will have to do it enough times to get that as a mindset for reality, and then it loses other things. So what I'm having to do, and I think spirituality, my mental health is trying to do to me, is get me down here slowly, step me down. But whereas it's been a bit gradual, it's like it's a bit of a drop at the present. And just because I know my mind according to the past, and because I know spirituality knows me through my mind and better than me, so it knows how I function, to my past. I think that's why it's able to do this gradually. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not kicking up a fuss, because my life is very fussy at present. I don't know, I think it's because I can see it. It just takes the edge off. It's like I know my mental health from the past 10 years, and it has a certain way of working. Now I'm 35 and I've had that mental health disorder for 10 years, so that's a big chunk of my life. I've probably used up more energy in those 10 years than I ever did in the previous 25. So I think my mind just gone blank. Basically, seeing it, yeah, it makes it that little bit easier. And I guess what it is like being able to see it. I can see a challenge, I can see a potential for where this is going and when it will stop. The likelihood is, even if I apply my mind to it, I'll make it a reality, even if it's not the case. But it could be like I'm steering. It could even be like a mental health disorder. It's just like continuous suffering, and I don't like this phrase, but it's all that I can think, and that's mental AIDS. On a daily basis, your mind just crumbles, whereas AIDS would be more for the body, I imagine. It's very inappropriate to say, but my mind's limited to what I can grasp at my vocabulary at present. And it could be spirituality is like steering me through my mind crumbling. And it could be like, right, Andreas, your mind is crumbling this way. This is everything we've taught you. And what we've taught you is everything you need to get through this impossible task. And right now your mind is crumbling immensely. But because we've trained you to see your mental health this way, because we've trained you to learn your lessons from the past, we know when you get to this stage, just simply being able to see any possibility of a positive that could be taken from it, a possibility as to what could happen next, simply as a result of the past. And because in doing that, I can apply my mind with positivity. Whereas if I'm just in a falling down process, you're done for, aren't you? If you're not able to do anything positive, life is going to collapse around you. That's how I've experienced it. And I think that's what's happening. It's just like spirituality is seeing this as the point in time where it will allow me to realise, because it's not allowed me up until now, it will allow me to realise a future, because this is the optimum time. Could have been I needed to free fall for a year or whatever, and now it's like, right, this is the time to open the parachute. So I open the parachute by seeing a possibility for the future and applying energy that way. I don't know, but that's essentially what it is, and it's a gradual falling down process. And somehow somehow going from seeing this level of slavery to seeing it as slavery, which it is coming from this direction, but because knowing the past, I know there's a possibility that it's not just slavery, and I guess that's where I've got to look next, where I've not really done that before. Thank you for listening. I think my discomforts have taken over enough and calmed down enough that I can just surrender them to this level, and I can turn this bloody tabletop sunbed off.